turn out, but it certainly makes it much more difficult to locate a project like that on a stream that even has marginal steelhead habitat. We did, because of the North Coast in-stream flow policy, we revisited our fish and game and nymphs, and had quite extensive discussions with them. And what we came away with was that, yeah, it's doable, but there's a lot of contingencies there, and that this was certainly not a sure bet that we could get the environmental permits, anything that resembled a timely manner. And so we think that the Mendocino College project is a great project in terms of cost per acre foot, yield. But if we can never get it permitted, then, it doesn't do us any good. So unless we could get through the environmental mitigation hoops much more cheaply and quickly, it's hard to. The concern would be we spend a lot of money drilling holes and doing geophysical testing and whatnot, and in the end we can't get the environmental permits anyway, or it's not nearly in a cost-effective manner.
No, I can understand that, but you're also looking at the lowest cost per acre foot project of the four, with the greatest yield, or one of the greater yields of the four. So that, to me, doesn't shut the door on the project. I'm concerned that if we're basing our hesitation on a draft policy that may not go anywhere, may not be in the same form it is now through the State Water Board, and two, what some field officers may say from the fisheries agencies. If we relied on that, we would still not have the reservoirs at Mill Creek taken care of. Because if we relied on, we want you to take the dams out philosophy of some renegade officers in the field. So what can be done, or what that may not require substantial financial resources, but maybe more political resources to work on these agencies to see what the feasibility really is?
Well, I think in the case of the Mendocino College project, if the board is not deterred by the potential struggles over the environmental issues, I would recommend that we continue to meet with Fish and Game and develop more of a concept proposal, advance it, flush it out as far as we can in terms of, look, would these mitigation measures, be they release of supplemental water or habitat enhancement downstream, try to pin them down as much as we could and get buy-in. That's largely staff time there, and so you're not, because I'm certainly aware of the financial condition around here. It's primarily staff time. It would take time, but we could certainly go down that path a little further.
Well, I'd hate for us to set this one aside, given the potential there, based on a lot of what ifs that I think could be at least further answered, maybe not completely, but further answered without the help of a high-priced consultant, but with the work of either staff and/or policymakers and dealing with the other policymakers in those agencies. That's worked before, it's worked very well, and it could possibly work again. We can get some progress made, and we may be able to get over some of those hurdles and then make this one more feasible.
Okay.
In terms of the Nice Reservoir, there's representatives of Redwood Valley District that are here. I'd like to hear, Mr. Chairman, at some point from them as to where their support is for this, or if it isn't there, why isn't it there? I'm not sure what timing you want, Mr. Chairman, but I'd like to have those individuals come up.
Thank you. I believe the manager is asked to speak to this item, but I'd like to go to the remainder of the board first.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay. Supervisor Smith.
That would be fine to hear from him. If it's timely, I can get my comments in after.
Okay.
That's fine.
Is there an objection from the board to take this one public comment out of order? Okay. Mr. Kohler.
Bill Kohler, General Manager, Redwood Valley Water. I have spoken a number of times with Roland on the 3 of the 4 projects in which Redwood's been named. Take Scout Camp first, and that's the easiest, I think, to resolve. Sounds like a great project. Sounds like it would mostly probably should benefit Willets Brook trails, but if there's some water left over, we'll certainly look at running a main down Tomkai and taking advantage of it. I placed this item on the agenda for my board at the July board meeting, and they specifically discussed this. More specifically, they made motions regarding Calpella and Nice. On the Calpella side, it was proposed that I be given the authority to work with Roland and see if we can make something good come out of this for whomever, using lumping all the assets available and see if we can do something with it. It has some real attraction, in part because it has a willing owner and a willing seller. As far as the Nice property, Redwood explored this some years ago and encountered the same difficulty, that the owner does not want to sell the property and wishes to get a royalty instead. The royalty seems to have actually increased relatively significantly over the years, but in any case, Redwood is not interested in pursuing a project it does not own. The $225,000 per year proposed royalty at this time would finance a debt of $4 million, and we see a better benefit in financing